Greetings sailors and welcome back to World of Warships, and this time around I'm going to play one of the newer additions to the game, the Nebraska, which is the tier 8 of the hybrid US battleship line that is being added fully next patch. It's currently in its preview phase, and they actually mixed it up a bit this time around with how you could get all of them. They're all in different ways, basically. The tier 8 you could get through the battle pass, which they actually lowered. I think previously it was 60 levels, and this time around the mark you had to get to was level 40. So, you know, they've kind of made it easier for people to get to that end goal, I guess. And then there's also various crates and mission chains and things going as well, which is, I think, how you get the tier 9, and I can't remember if you can get the tier 10. I think you can get a bonus package for one of them as well, which I don't have for this, but yeah, I'm not flogging myself to get any of those. I was actually even surprised I got to level 40 on the battle pass, but I guess I've been playing a little bit more this last month. Now this is, unlike the Kearsarge, which was designed as a hybrid from the ground up, this is basically kind of US what if in the similar vein as the Issei, whereas the Issei was born out of necessity, and I think the thinking for these was born out of necessity as well, but US industrial capacity and the ability to churn out carriers basically made the idea of converting North Carolinas and Iowas into hybrids. It was basically just a non-starter, but you know, paper is cheaper than steel, so I think some of these designs did actually get looked at, even if there was very little chance of them actually happening. And in fact, with the Iowa, you know, there were proposals right into the 80s when they were reactivated. There's a funky looking mock-up I saw online of like a physical model that had been put together to go with the proposal to turn the rear area of the Iowa, taking out the turrets and sticking on basically a Harrier flight deck. So yeah, it's not like those ideas were persistent right up until only a couple of decades ago, but they were still quite wacky even then. There still wasn't really much point to them when the US had perfectly good dedicated carriers that could do basically the exact same thing. So I guess it was just all of that Cold War defense spending sloshing around, and someone thought, what if we did this? Anyway, no destroyers. Okay. There is a carrier though, so it's going to be hard for the cruisers to cap. Our sneakiest things really are the submarines, so I guess we'll see how this goes. Nebraska's guns don't quite feel like the North Carolina. The accuracy is notably better to make up for the fact that you've still got the full 30-second reload and you've lost a third of your guns. I don't know if it's quite battle cruiser accuracy. I don't know if they're using the battle cruiser curve, but it is notably better. It's still the same rather lazy flight time of the US heavy battleship shells, but yeah, the accuracy is quite nice in comparison. I mean, North Carolina's all right. It's nothing to sniff at, but it's not particularly known as an accurate ship. Anyway, what are we going to do? That's the question. I think we'll just wait until somebody gets spotted. You know, we could try and go and hump the island in B and then fly off planes, but the planes, I mean, I think it's they're not completely terrible. It's not maybe quite as effective as the tiny Tims that the Kearsarge gets in terms of fire chance. You'll see what the bomb drop is like when we do get to use them. But yeah, in lieu of actually shooting stuff, the planes are not going to be a great substitute. But you do, you know, you still have the guns. Really, these are primarily battleships that can use their guns. And that should use their guns rather, first and foremost, and then you know, you can do extra bit of stuff with the planes. I have seen people playing Isseis and Kearsarges and Tonays that like pretending that they are a full-on aircraft carrier. up to and including just sitting behind islands, not really doing anything else, and only trying to use their planes, and unsurprisingly it doesn't work. And it's especially a waste in the Kearsarge, because that thing has got really nice firepower. There is one point of similarity like the Kearsarge though, in fact even more so than the Kearsarge. With the Ise you do have more of a flush flight deck. You don't have this great honking big superstructure area that goes up above the regular deck, but Kearsarge does, and this does as well, and it's basically a massive chunk of extended superstructure in terms of its armor plating. It's 19mm, so it is especially vulnerable to high explosive spam. The actual deck itself is 32, but there are still obviously plenty of HE shells that can punch through that, especially battleship caliber ones. But yeah, no, don't go into this thinking it's going to be anything like as durable as the North Carolina, just because it can get penned so much more easily with the big squashy slab of 16mm armor. Or is it 19mm? I think it's 19mm, isn't it? But yeah, that makes it problematic if you get focused by lots of things firing high explosive at you. Right, we will maybe try our planes just here. See the damage going, and yes, that is firing high explosive. That wasn't too bad. Right, so let's see if we can get in on this Edinburgh. It is a fairly wide carpet spread, so they're not especially precise bombs, but they're... I don't know if them being high level makes any particular difference. You can see there, it's... oh, well, that was a nice little splash around the ship. It's going to be less effective against skinny cruisers than battleships. That's usually the case with a lot of bombers. It's definitely true with these. With rocket planes, you could at least try and aim along the side of the ship that you actually want to hit, but these are entirely at the mercy of RNG when it comes to things like that. Right, are you coming from me, Pobeda? We do have the ability to launch a catapult, although it's not going to do any good because it's a Pobeda, but we can actually launch the planes. I think the AA is a bit better than the regular as well. It's actually got 5 dual-purpose mounts, which is not too shabby, although there's not much point trying... Are you firing high explosive in an Iowa? You are. That's slightly weird. Yeah, there's not much point trying to go secondary spec with the secondaries that it does have. It's just too squashy. It's just much too squashy. 16k, not bad. The Ruprecht taking the pop. I really don't want to get too close to anything, especially not Atlantico secondaries. But we have the other 2 caps, so we just need to sort of do some damage here, really.
Problem solved, sir.
And not take too much in return. Of course, this does have the exact same problem as the Ise, where once you start heading away from people, you have to take increasingly awkward maneuvers if you want to try and hit them, which may involve exposing more armor than you really want. But we'll give it a go against this Atlantico and hope too many people don't decide to focus us. 20k. See what I mean about the accuracy is sort of quite notably nice. There are a couple of ships like this that they tend to be the squashier ships, like Champagne and Borodino, and of course some of the tree battle cruisers as well. You know, equally squashy, but the accuracy just feels that bit tighter. Right, if we can hit the Atlantico for the same amount again, that will finish him off. That would be nice. It's looking decent. Oh, there we go. Actually, the fire was the tick of damage that killed them, but we got most of the remaining health. Right, that's not too shabby. The Atlantico was the main one that was actually pushing there. The rest of them are being fairly standoffish. We could slow ourselves a bit. Let's get pointed towards them first. If we get aerial spotted or something like that, I don't want to... oh, you're being a bit bold there in a Schroeder, considering how squashy it is. Although, a York versus a Schroeder. Well, actually, I don't know. It all depends on RNG at that point. Who gets lucky with landing their hits? But yeah, let's try the planes again. Maybe we'll actually get to hit something this time. I guess we'll go for the York. It is the closest. Again, a skinny cruiser. But if we try and go for the Ruprecht, there's too many things around them. I think our planes would just get shredded. Well, we do have a speed boost available, so we'll use that to jockey ourselves into position. Try and dodge the flak. Let's begin the run. And hope that the target is not too skinny. Nearly 5k, that's not completely terrible. Let's see if we can finish them off with the guns. Don't know if that was enough lead, actually. Maybe. There we go. And a citadel. Right, ideally we want to get unspotted here. I don't want to give broadside to the Prince Ruprecht. So they're not looking this way at the moment. It's not super sneaky, as you can see. 12.3. It's alright. But considering the relative squashiness of it, yeah. Right, here's what actually putting myself bowing turned out to be maybe not the best idea, actually. Right, the Iowa seems intent on firing high explosive. Not sure why. I don't quite understand that, but okay. Ruprecht has at least a partial secondary spec. Possibly even a full secondary spec, I guess. It's hard to tell. So we have decent range. Anyway, that's a nice broadside target. Oh, well, okay. Well, still 8k, but still, that would have been nice to have more than just the 2 hits. The turret traverse is, I think, the standard 45 seconds, so you might want to do like I've done and put on the turret traverse module. Because, yeah. You're going to sometimes be swinging those turrets around a lot. 45, generally, I won't bother, but for a turret configuration like this, it kind of felt worthwhile. I could have had a bit of extra range, but 21 kilometers is generally going to be enough in most scenarios. We could go for the Ruprecht, though the Iowa's right next to them. I don't know if it's worth it. Well, okay, right at this moment, let's go for it, I suppose. We don't run out of plane squads or anything like that. Right, we are really, you know, they've taken their toll on us in terms of ships. And they have a bunch of healthy ships coming down this flank still, but like in terms of the cap control, because they do still have time for them to potentially turn it around. Right, 6k, that wasn't terrible. Let's see what that does. Ah, 3 ricochets, alas. And if my eyes do not deceive me... Oh, no, he's going for the middle, okay. Thought the Barbada might be going this way. Now, this being a North Carolina hull, it's not the fastest. Why, Iowa? Why? Right, let's concentrate the Takahashi for now. They're more of a threat than the Iowa. Oh, only 1 hit, alas. almost 100k already though, that's not too shabby. Still got 4 heals left. Oh, now he's figured he's got AP. Okay. Slightly wondering where that roof reactor's gone. They're clearly not targeting me right just this moment. Okay. I'm being slightly cautious about my angling just because, you know, I don't want to... The problem is I'm going to run out of map at some point soon, which... Yeah, if that puts me broadside onto the roof bracket, I don't desperately want that. Anyway, anyone targeting me right now? You're looking at something else, I guess you are. Not a lot, but we do have our planes available again, and that's close enough that actually, in between taking the shots, we might as well. We'll get a heal going after this as well. Right, we just need to stay alive at this point. I've occupied at least the attention of 2 of their ships. I have no idea what the Ruprecht is doing or where they are at the moment. I guess I won't complain if they're not shooting at me. There we go, fire, 12k, that was a nice hit. That's probably one of the better hits I've had with these so far. If someone else can set a fire on the Iowa, that would be quite useful. You can't really, like, you can't put the planes out quick enough to do it with the planes. Right, let's try a bit of angling in between him firing. Hope that we can turn back in time. They're not even looking at me right now. He's eventually going to catch up with me, but I suspect the game will end before that point. Shall we try some high explosive ourselves? He's bow on at the moment. Possibly not the very worst idea. Don't tend to do it to my US battleships because the AP isn't normally more than good enough. But if we can get a fire to stick on them, a bit more damage.
Enemy cruiser detected.
Oh, that's the Takahashi. Okay, we'll go back to AP after this. We could take our planes out again, but I think we'll just stick with the... They were close enough to... Oof, no. No, never mind. There was... If there was going to be more to this engagement, I might try and seriously set them on fire, but... yeah. Oh, no, never mind. Didn't even get a chance to shoot at the Takahashi. So that was okay. Like I say, you can feel the extra bit of tightness with the guns. I got lucky there though. The main person that was focusing me for quite a while was the Iowa, who was not being terribly effective. Yeah. I should have done a little more damage against the Takahashi when I had side shots, but even if they do a bit better, you know, still battleship guns at the end of the day. I'll actually, just in between the games, this is the equipment I'm running with. You do get the choice of sticking on the Air Groups mod 3, so a bit more hit points, a bit more speed, a bit less prep time. That does come at the sacrifice of your DCP, your damage control system mod, though. As I said, main battery mod 2 for the extra turret traverse. I don't think I've got the captain's skill yet, but I might stack that so I can get it to 32 seconds. That's reasonably... yeah, that seems like it's reasonably worth going for. I'll probably go for fire prevention as well, just because, yeah, anything to make it a bit less vulnerable to fire, I suppose. I mean, it's already vulnerable enough to hit the HE spam, but if you've got fires eating away at you at the same time, you're going to lose health quite quickly. So another tier 9 match. And one destroyer at least this time, steel carriers. Okay, could be worse. Could definitely be worse. We might get more opportunity to use the planes this time, actually. I think we'll head towards D for the time being. Although that island there always makes life a bit awkward on this flank. If you're in a battleship, because you've got a nice big patch of open water, you know, on these sides, but on this side you've got the islands north and south that are just in the way of where you might want to go to. So either go in front of them and get stuck going in this kind of vulnerable orientation along this line here, or else you end up having to go around the back of them and taking yourself out of the action entirely. But we'll take the risk, I guess. Yeah, let's see, we've got cruisers coming over here, Eisenhower's going over that way, so that's fine. The destroyers on this flank as well. Okay, let's see what this match brings then. Okay, so they're capping D, so that's just their destroyer over here as well, although they at least cannot torpedo our destroyer, but otherwise, yeah, I don't think our destroyer's got much advantage. It's certainly, I think it's about 200 or 300 meters less stealthy than the Gajimada. The Gajimada's firepower is as good as the Bushkevitsa. I don't think it's got quite as many guns, but it has excellent firing angles, if I remember correctly. The Heisen's also on this flank. That's possibly the nastiest guns on the enemy team. Although the Caracciolo has very good penetration. It's basically got the same shells as the Roma, if I remember correctly. So it's the typical Italian dispersion, but the penetration is actually very, very good. And that is a HE firing one up, which is not a totally uncommon sight. But not the hugest threat, I would say. Oh, you're going for the smoke, are you? Implacable. AA can help with that a little bit. Yeah, he's trying to harass Spot. Generally being an annoyance to the destroyer. Oh, hello, Gajimada. That is not what I was expecting to see.
Torpedoes to port.
Okay, that did not go so well, alas. Yeah, we possibly want to try and kill this guy. That's a very bold move, Gajimada. I'm not sure I would have made that move when there's a whole bunch of ships right there that are going to be very keen to do bad things to you. Yeah, okay then. Okay then, that was certainly a thing that was attempted. Not a particularly sensible thing, but it was certainly a thing. Okay, it's probably time to get the planes up in the air. I will fire off my guns first, because I might as well. Yeah, Bushkevitsa are not having the best day, alas. Alright, let's see if we can Just skirt the fighters. Downside, of course, if you're using the planes at longer engagement ranges, is it takes a while to get there, and you're basically slowing down your rate of fire. Right, we're going to go for an awkward across the beam drop on the Caracciolo. I don't think we really have time to, like, not with 3 battleships worth of AA here. I have time to manoeuvre with something better. A couple thousand damage, it's not completely awful. Well, we could possibly take this, we have the healthy ships, but yeah, in fact we do kind of need to take a cap, don't we? Yeah. Right, the rocket planes are actually going to be a bit of a pain with my superstructure. Does it have to? I can never bloody remember. It is... Whichever one it is, I want to ping take the cap. 4? I can't remember. I just look like an idiot that's pinging random things now. No, I don't want to... Like, if I go in here alone, then I'm just going to die. So there's kind of not a lot of point. Alright, we're just going to have to do an awkward turn here. Then I was thinking, well, I might be... You know, like, we've got the health between us, surely, to push this. 4 versus 4, but nobody else seems interested, so okay. Well, I do not have the... Like, I can't go it alone. I was doing something like an Atlantico, maybe. I'd be like, yeah, okay, heck yeah, let's try this, but not this ship, not the Nebraska. No, it's much too squishy. Much too squishy. Alright, I don't think either of the battleships can hit me particularly effectively right now. Come on, reload! Quick. Like one of the shells got through there. Okay, that rune is not in... yeah, that was not particularly the best push to make their rune, but you had to go anyway, bless you. Okay, well, if we get the other side... Oh, triple fire from a single hit.
The ship is on fire.
Was a little unfortunate. If we get the other side, and we just need to... Well, keep them back on this side, I guess. Do what damage we can, not die. I think not die is probably the main thing right now.
Problem solved, sir.
I don't think I'm going to get as much damage in this one, sadly. I mean, I'm the one providing the spotting right now. Our CV is fully focused on the other flank. Let's see if we get a bit better with... yeah, nearly 10k. That was a good drop. We've almost got a heal back as well, which is very nice. Oh!
Enemy battleship foundered.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that. I guess I can turn around now, though. There's those super heavy shells for you. Punched right through the... At that angle, I wasn't really expecting to get a citadel, but yeah. Yeah, this is not going to be nearly so much damage. This was a very one-sided game, though. Last time we were at least trading ships pretty equally up until the end, like the end stretch. In this one, not so much. Yeah. So, much more lackluster game in terms of damage done. But at least I did something. Just noticed I've got the planes, we might as well take them out again. Everything else is out of gun range. Their Heisen wasn't... I mean, they must have been shooting at something, but... Yeah, I think they took a few pot shots at me. But for being top tier, I wasn't really feeling their presence that much.
Our victory is in
And
sight.
to be honest, it kind of feels like the Caracciolo was the one that was playing best on this flag. Though the Monarch was certainly having a go, it's just mostly involved high explosive. Right, let's see if we get fire, maybe? Don't know if that's going to stick. No, it's not. Trying to aim using the mini-map a little bit there. Let's see if that's successful. No. Not really. This is slightly awkward in terms of actually trying to land hits. I may get to have another pop at the Heisen in a second. I guess we'll see. Again, using the mini-map. There goes their Buffalo. That's us at 900 points. Maybe? Oh, okay. Yeah, it was something. Better than a kick in the teeth. Don't think there's any point trying to get the planes up. They're not going to get there in time, are they? No. Well, that was a very resounding victory. I think the first game was certainly the much more interesting game. But hey, I record these live, so you never quite know what you're going to get. Whether it's going to be games like this, or if it's actually going to be something even halfway worth what I would normally put up on the channel as the replay kind of thing. That level of interest. Still fourth on the team, apparently. Oh, that was me saying, oh, the Caracciolo felt like they were doing okay. Apparently not. Apparently not. There's the Monarch. So the Heisen was doing more damage, so we're just doing it from further back, I guess, not really engaging. Anyway, so, yeah, it's not bad. It's certainly a gimmicky ship, and I think as long as people remember it's a battleship that can sometimes fly planes rather than a carrier with big guns, it's not a bad addition to the game, just as an idea. But that does, of course, come with the downside of it, means that there will now be more planes potentially flying around, even in games where there are no carriers. They are definitely less effective, though, in terms of countering destroyers especially. You can still spot destroyers, but you can't put out planes in the same way that a carrier could. So it's definitely not on a par with a carrier in terms of harassing destroyers, but it's still more planes for destroyers and sneaky cruiser players to have to worry about. So it's a mixed bag in that regard, anyway. Anyhow, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you can do all the usual things down underneath it, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.